All right, let's try this again. Very sorry for what happened there. If you actually go back to the part one, it ended right where I ended the stream, because you can hear myself. I thought we were live, but I guess we're not. My apologies for any technological difficulties that we have. This is a first. Probably will happen again in future. So if you weren't in part one, where the hell were you? This is now part two. So to reintroduce our panel, we have Luca, Hope, Val, and Madden, and Malcolm joining us today. So what we've covered so far is we covered my 10 through 8. That was Good Morning, Here Comes the Sun, and then Come Together. Malcolm's, what was your 10 through 8 again?
I had Tristan Shout at 10, Help at 9, Yellow Submarine at 8.
And then for Luca, your 10 was All My Lovin', and then your 9 was Norwegian Wood, and then your 8 was
I've Just Seen a Face.
Yeah, and then we were just on your 8. So if you want to, we'll just start over as if you just announced your number 8.
Sure. I know that it's not on either of your lists, because you guys are bad fans. The best thing about I've Just Seen a Face is just how much fun it is. I think that it's got a sort of great, almost country western style to it. I think the finger-picked guitar line in the intro is really sweet, and I like the melody and the harmonies and the vocals. I like the cascading rhyme scheme, which basically ABAB, I've just seen a face, I can't forget the time or place where we just met. Like it's got a pace to it. It's almost like a dance. Yeah. I think it's the best Beatles song at portraying the kind of naive puppy love type thing that they're very known for. And I think that it's an upbeat song, and it comes in the middle of a lot of sort of mid and low tempo, sort of really somber affairs on Help. Like a song which I imagine will show up in this list at some point yesterday. But I think it's my favorite song on the album because it's like a big sort of jump back up and have a dance type thing, which I just like. I like it when they do something that's kind of cheerful and fun.
Yeah. I won't lie. I'm not familiar with the tune at all. It is one that I will definitely go back to and have a listen. Surprised that like I was like just even compiling a list, I have like 25 plus songs, and then like for there to be a song that I haven't heard is kind of crazy.
Have you seen the Across the Universe movie?
No, I'm not.
Okay. It's the bowling scene.
Oh, okay. All right. Malcolm, anything to add?
Yeah, this one came so close to coming on my list then that I remembered one big one that I actually missed. So
yeah,
it pushed everything down. But yeah, this one is one that I first heard when I saw the Across the Universe movie. So, and this is one that didn't resonate with me as much as the others, but I still enjoyed it all the same.
Yeah. All right. So now we go to my 7 through 5. I think 7. Yeah, 7 through
6.
7 through 6. Yeah. So we're next 2. So my number 7 is Saw Her Standing There.
Nope.
No.
Surprising. No, not mine either.
Huh. Interesting.
I said I didn't have anything from Please Please Me.
Yeah, true. Fair enough. Yeah, I like the blues rock feel to this one. Very very progressive. Very quick. Has a nice pace to it. Nice harmonies in the chorus. Nice little solo that George has. Their solos for the most part are pretty simple. They don't really go too heavy, with the exception of maybe Revolution.
Malcolm. We'll get to a couple.
Oh yeah, Malcolm. Your thoughts on Saw Her Standing There?
Yeah, this is one that is another one that was on my list very early on, then was pushed off very quickly as well. But it's just one that I enjoy listening to, and it's just one of those ones that it is good, but it's just I don't see it as high as my other ones that I've got there.
Yeah. Luca, your thoughts on Saw Her Standing There?
This is obviously the first song on Please Please Me, their first album. Really good way to introduce them to the world. Very traditional kind of rhythm and blues, rock and roll styling. The thing is, it's not as fun as like Twist and Shout, I think. And Twist and Shout is on the same album, and Twist and Shout wasn't on my list. I think it's a fun song, but I wouldn't put it as high as like some other early career Beatles songs like Help, which is coming up, and All My Loving, and like I Want to Hold Your Hand and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. So my number 6 then is a punt from earlier, and that is Help.
Still not on my list.
No, really. Yeah. So for me, this is like one of the great vocal like in terms of like all 4 Beatles like coming together. I feel like it has some great harmonies and some great call and answer while maintaining that quick pace with Ringo's drum beat and then that walking bass line that Paul has in the chorus, and then when John is on his own, like the help me if you can, I'm feeling down. Just it's very smooth and like just one that resonates with me a lot. Luca, your thoughts on Help?
Oh, it was really close to being on my list, but then I was like, I've just seen the face, I just like it more. Help is obviously like a massively important song in the Beatles catalog because it starts a kind of a time-honored tradition of kind of interplay between the Beatles and the Beach Boys, each sort of cross-pollinating music from their respective cultures, because it has a lot of the like really high harmony stuff that was involved there. But I actually don't know if that's accurate, but it sounds like a Beach Boys song in many ways. I think I love the Beach Boys, not a
yeah, I could see that, like a little less theremin, I would guess.
But I like Help a lot. It was very, very close to making my list. It's my second favorite song on the album of the same name. It wasn't. I wanted as much variety in albums as I could have.
Yeah. Malcolm, your thoughts? I mean, yeah, Help for you was your number 9, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was one that that was the first one that I put on the list, but then it just got bumped down and down and down. But this is one. It's a fun song. I really enjoyed it, and I mean, one of the things which cemented it to stay on the list was, and I know that Glee covers are usually not that great, but when they covered Help, this was one that they chose a really big musical montage that ran through pretty much every set on as they could think of the Glee sets, and that sort of helped me get it on there. And it's just one that I just really enjoy listening to. It's one of my favorite like songs out there. So
yeah. All right. So that covers my 7 and 6. Malcolm, your 7.
My number 7 is Get Back.
Oh, interesting. Not on my list.
That was on my list, and then I took it off. It was around that same spot too, and I took it off.
Yeah. So this is another one that I just really love, and it was actually one of the ones that the first time I listened to it, the first time I ever heard it was on the same Glee episode, and then I went back and listened to the original version, and then that just really cemented me in, and it's just one of those ones that it taught me about America, cities in Arizona. So that's another reason, because yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's the same city that Late to the Party are from as well. So
yeah, for like this was on the list, and I just found it was like it's really only kind of like two verses, and then the chorus is pretty simple, and like it goes back to kind of like that quick blue stuff that they did in the earlier years. I'm not sure. It was so close, and it was on my list, but then I had to take it off just because there are some other songs I forgot about to get on here. But Luca, your thoughts on Get Back?
Great song, great song. Billy Preston this song is actually by the Beatles with Billy Preston. That's how it was released as a single, because Billy Preston, who was a really legendary R&B and blues piano player from Texas, was on this song. And I think that he really adds an extra layer of character. His piano playing is so good. But I think it's a really, really good song. It was kind of very, very close to making the list. Paul's vocals are very good. I think that the guitar work could maybe have a little bit more in there. It's a very traditional R&B song. And I just, at this point, because this was like 69, I like my stuff from that era a little bit more experimental.
Yeah. All right. So then your number 6, I believe, Malcolm, or did we just do your 6?
That was the 7.
That was 7, yeah.
My number 6 is Eleanor Rigby.
Oh, punt,
that is my number 5.
Punt. Good sir.
That is my number 5.
Punt that.
All right, so we're gonna punt this. Okay, so Luca, we are now on your number 7.
Talk about so this is from Abbey Road, and it's in between Octopus's Garden and Here Comes the Sun, in between two of the loveliest, sweetest, most gentle songs on that album. I Want You, parentheses, She's So Heavy. Either of you?
It's not on my list.
Oh, God. Oh, this is painful. Okay, right. This song is so insane. Like, on Abbey Road, you go through the first few songs and you get stuff like Come Together, which is a really good, like, beat rock, sort of R&B influenced song, and you have things like Octopus's Garden, which is a Ringo song. And then this 7-minute, like, full-on psychedelic rock monster that you would not be like surprised to find on like an Iron Butterfly or Deep Purple record comes on, and you know, it's like one of the heaviest and like bluesiest things that the Beatles ever wrote. It's a significant influence on Black Sabbath. It's a significant influence on the whole doom metal scene. There are critics who have called it the first heavy metal song. I'm not sure I agree with that, but like, everything from like the arpeggiated minor chord riffs that opens the track to the blues riffs and the screaming vocals from John that at one point like is just like a full-on scream that goes into the She's So Heavy sort of bridge. And what I think stands out the most about this song is the use of the electric organ, the Hammond organ, to create this just thick, cavernous, huge sound, which imagining being in 1970 before Black Sabbath has released Black Sabbath, and you've been living off of like Cream and Deep Purple, and you know that there's this band called the Beatles who have been around for a long time and they do this kind of Tin Pan Alley pop stuff, and then you hear this, holy shit, like it is crushing. I cannot imagine listening to it for the first time in 1970. It would blow me the fuck away.
Very sad that this is not on my list. It is one that I forgot about. But as soon as you said "I want you," all I could hear is that minor riff. I want you so bad. Yeah, kind of sad that this didn't make my list. It would have been like probably 7, 8, or 9. But Malcolm, your thoughts on "I Want You"? She's So Heavy.
Yeah, this is one I just completely forgot about myself. And this, like, it would have made my list had I remembered it in time. But yeah, this is a great song. Just I can't get it out of my head. Just like now that it's brought up, but it's just so catchy and yeah.
Yeah, Caleb and Jessica are hating us, Malcolm, both for not having it on the list. So we are definitely outnumbered in terms of that song. So now, Luca, you're number 6.
I assume this is gonna be a punt. My number 6 is "Let It Be."
Not on my list.
Ooh,
No, not a surprise.
neither of your lists.
No, it's not on my list.
Shit.
It's no.
Okay, so I was torn between this and "Hey Jude," which is not on my list. "Let It Be," man. Potentially besides "Hey Jude," it's one of the Beatles songs that has been like most revered by music publications and critics, and I love everything about it. I love. I think it's Paul's best vocal performance ever. I like the gospel influences, both in the instrumentation and in the lyrics. I like the story behind it. Like, people think of it as like a religious song, like Mother Mary is the Virgin Mary, and it's about religious experiences. It's about Mary McCartney. It's about Paul's dead mother, and about the kind of the spiritual experiences that Paul had surrounding his mother's death. And seeing his mother in a dream, and kind of accepting her death, her passing, and it's a beautiful use of gospel influences to get to that conclusion. I can never decide which version I like better. I love the sort of the really crunchy Phil Spector produced guitar solo on the album, but I also love the sort of dialed up to 11 choral vocals on the single version. And I think it's so important because it's the final single released before Paul left the band, and then the band very shortly broke up after. And it's a song that is at once so incredibly personal to Paul, but is also at the same time a really, I think it's the perfect song to look back over the Beatles' career as a whole, and get a sense of the entirety of their career.
Yeah. So I don't have it on my list because I look at it as more of a Paul tune than it is a Beatles tune. It is on here somewhere, but it didn't crack my top 10. It's a lovely tune. For me, I see Caleb saying here, it's amazing, brings me chills every time. Like I don't get that same kind of emotional feel. Maybe just because it was overplayed here. But I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't have the same emotional effect that it does for a lot of people. Malcolm, your thoughts on "Let It Be"?
Yeah, well, this is one I did have on my list until it was pushed down. But I mean, one of the things which, this was part of one of the scenes I really loved about Across the Universe is the kid singing "Let It Be." Yeah, it's just one of those scenes which resonated with me. And, I mean, this is one that it's just barely off. It falls. It would have fallen at number 11 had we been done a longer list, but it's just an incredible song. It was I believe it was the last song that they sung together, or released anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those ones which is just so good. And I'm just bummed that I didn't get it on there.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's the best scene in Across the Universe by far.
Yeah. All right, so now we're down to our top 5, and we're gonna go
one apiece, right?
So my 5, my 5, I'm pretty sure is still a punt. Eleanor Rigby.
It's my 4.
Okay. So let's talk about Eleanor Rigby then. One of the best Beatles songs in terms of arrangements. You get some great violin work, and they establish layers in the song very nicely, and without taking away from like the story that's being told. Once again, great harmonies throughout the chorus, pretty well, and it has that quick pace that I really enjoy about the Beatles. Malcolm, Eleanor Rigby, your thoughts?
Yeah, I had this at number 6 because like it was just one of those ones which it's good. I mean, I've just always loved listening to it, and I just had it that little bit lower because there's a few other bigger songs that I liked more.
Yeah. Luca, your thoughts on Eleanor Rigby?
There's a really interesting thing about the way that the band plays on this track. Can you guys tell me what this?
The time signature, I believe, is 4/4.
About the way the band plays.
They play a staccato.
It's a great question. The band does not play on this song. The Beatles do not play an instrument on this song. There are no instruments from the guys in the band. Paul, George, and John contribute vocals, and the rest is done with a string octet. In terms of the really interesting thing about the music, this actually is a mixed mode song. The chord progression is a minor chord progression, whereas the vocal melody is in Dorian mode, which is minor with the sixth. So it's got that really interesting musical contrast between the string sections and the vocal melody. But this is one of the best narratives the Beatles have ever put to song. It's so beautiful and so drenched in melancholy, and as opposed to a lot of other Beatles narratives, which are kind of very mundane and ho-hum, or completely out there. This is a really thematic, really beautiful story about loneliness and isolation and depression that hits for a band that released Help, the album 2 years before. It's just wow. Like the jump made between like Help, Rubber Soul, and Revolver is so well emphasized by this song, and it's beautiful. And the composition on the strings is gorgeous. I just think it's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. We already talked Malcolm Van Rugby. So now we go to Malcolm for your number 5.
Yeah, my number 5 is a punt from earlier. It's Here Comes Sun. And
yes, that was my number 9.
Yeah, this is one that I had a lot higher because it's one of the first songs that is one that I relate to. One of my dates that I was on was one of the first songs I ever sung at karaoke, and it's just one of those ones which I can listen to on repeat for all day if I could. It's just one that I really love, but it's just missed out because the top 4 are probably some of the Beatles' better songs. So yeah.
Yeah. For me, why I enjoy the song so much is because it has some of the best guitar work by George Harrison. It's a riff that you could listen to over and over and over again. This is also a really fun song to play. I got to play this at a wedding last year. A couple was signing their certificate to this song. A guy did an instrumental work while I was doing the bass line, and it was super fun. And they also have this great light vocals. And it like in the song, it literally sounds like the sun is coming up, and you have these great bright colors, like you can almost see them whenever you hear the song. Luca, your thoughts on Here Comes the Sun?
It's really sweet. It's really lovely. It's really nice to listen to. Again, I was trying not to repeat too much from albums, and I think that I just wanted to put She's So Heavy on there. It's not one of my favorite songs on Abbey Road. I prefer stuff like Oh Darling and Come Together as well. But this is a really lovely, I love the acoustic guitar lead. I love the vocals on it. I think it's a really, really beautiful song. It just didn't quite make the cut for me. Yeah. Would have been probably in my top 20 there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Luca, you're number 5.
Caleb made a point that we were done with all the movies. We're not actually done with all of the movie soundtracks because from Magical Mystery Tour, my number 5 is I Am the Walrus.
Not on my list. I thought about it, and I was like, this is just too. It's too psychedelic.
Oh, you're not gonna like my number 1.
It's just not. It just like for me, it's nonsensical.
Okay, so. This is the Beatles' last, like, really forceful push into psychedelic music. Yeah. Like, really, it's their last sort of real push in there, except with the exception of potentially She's So Heavy, which is like hard rock psychedelia. There's a story that's often told about John Lennon basically writing the lyrics to I Am the Walrus in direct response to a letter about an English teacher who was making his students analyze Beatles lyrics, and he wanted to make a song that was like as unanalyzable as possible. And that's like such a beautiful piece of like '60s rock mythology that people forget that it's actually true. That's how the song was written. And John took all of these like disparate elements of influence, whether it's Lewis Carroll, nursery rhymes, and like sort of prog rock bands like Procol Harum. It's really similar to Procol Harum's White Shaded Pale, which is one of John Lennon's favorite songs. It takes all of these disparate elements and combines them so beautifully, and has like such an insane build up towards the end with like beautiful string sections and like ambient noise and excerpts from a radio production of King Lear towards the end. It's like it lays the foundation for Revolution, which is a song that's not on my list, but could have been. I just think it's absolutely like it's this acid drenched like middle finger at the whole idea of like musical interpretation that is surprisingly fun to interpret. And it's like fun and dark in equal measure. I just love the weirdness of it. It's great.
Yeah. All right, Malcolm, your thoughts on "I Am the Walrus"?
Yeah, this is one that just didn't make the list because I just thought it was one of those ones that was just like you. It was just too psychedelic for me. I've kind of go on a cycle where I either love the song or I hate it. There's kind of no middle ground for me. It's like depending on what my mood is at the time. If I'm in a bad mood and I want a song to bring me up, I'll listen to "I Am the Walrus." If I'm in a bad mood, then I won't listen. If I'm in a good mood, I won't listen to "I Am the Walrus."
Yeah, it's kind of similar to what was the one that we mentioned earlier that I did? Oh, "Let It Be." Just doesn't really attach to me emotionally, and like it's if you look at it a certain way, it is a like an almost a textbook definition of like a rebel song. It's one that's nonsensical. It's not meant. You can't you can't study it. You can't break it down. Like it's one to just kind of fight the system, I guess, in a way. But yeah, that's "I Am the Walrus" in a nutshell, pretty well. So now we go to my number 4. And my number 4 is "All You Need Is Love."
Nope.
That's a punch.
Really? All right. So now we go to Malcolm's number 4.
My number 4 is 8 Days a Week.
Did not make my list.
Interesting.
Did not make my list.
Also not on my list.
Yeah. This is one that I just love because it's one that is so catchy, and it's one that now is a story that this was written in New Zealand about the tour, the first tour they came to do in New Zealand. I tried to fact check it, I just couldn't. So it's just a story that I've heard. But there's this rumor that this was written in New Zealand about their first New Zealand tour that they did, and it's just one that just resonated with me because of that. Whether if it's true or not, I don't know. But it's a great song. I just love listening to it. That's just why it's so high up there.
Yeah. Luca, your thoughts on 8 Days a Week?
It's a fun song, but I find it tends to get kind of lost in the crowd for me, along with a lot of the sort of not mid-career, but like the era of like A Hard Day's Night and Help and stuff like that, where it's on Beatles for Sale, and I think Beatles for Sale is the weakest album by the Beatles. And I think it's not quite at the caliber for me personally.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with Luca that it does get mixed in there with a lot of like songs like "I Feel Fine" and like "Paperback Writer" and those kind of tunes. It's a good tune. It's another great like Paul and John duo. But yeah, just shot. I would say I would probably say it's outside of my top 20. So now we go to Luca. You already done your 4, so
what was on a rig base? So we go back to you.
So my number 3 then is "Obla Di Obla Da."
What? No, you're wrong.
That's not on my list.
It's their worst song.
I love this. I love "Obla Di Obla Da." It tells this great story, and it's like the chorus is nonsensical, and it tells the great story of Desmond and Molly Jones. It's simple, and I love it. I love Obadi Obada. It's great. Great piano work. Yeah, it's silly and it's fun, and it's like it is a guilty pleasure, I guess. I didn't think it was. I don't see the problem in having Obadi Obada on my list. It was originally number 2, but then another one just edged it out. Getting a lot of hate in the chat for having this on here. Malcolm, Obadi Obada, your thoughts?
This is one. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do like the song. It's just not that high for me. But this is another one that I use as one of my go-to karaoke songs at times. So.
Yeah. All right. Luca, berate me. Why does Obadi Obada suck?
Number 3. So, Obadi Obada is the reason we have so many terrible white cod reggae bands like UB40 and Magic. It's so dreadful. I like the No Doubt version because they're completely taking the piss out of it. That's fun. But oh my god, it's limp. It's spineless. No.
Alrighty.
It's a damp fish. So this is the thing about the White Album. It has some of their best songs on it of all time, but it's so long it's bound to have some of their worst. Like this and the continuing story of Bungalow Bill and like Honey Pie and shit like that. Fuck off.
All right. Wow. Did not think I was going to get a lot. I did not think I was going to get a lot of hate for that. So I go to Malcolm.
My number 3 is A Hard Day's Night.
Ooh, no.
No, did not make my list either.
Yeah, this is one that resonates with me so much because it's just it's a great tune. I just love listening to it. And it was at school. When I was at high school, we were forced. Well, not so much forced, but this was one of the movies that we had to study for drama class at one stage. I don't know why they chose English class rather, but I don't know why they chose that one. But we had to study it, and yeah, it's just one that I just like listening to. It's just fun.
Yeah, I kind of have to reiterate the statement that I had with 8 Days a Week. It's a great tune from their earlier works, but it gets kind of gets meshed in with the songs that I had mentioned previously, like Paperback Writer and like even like Day Tripper, kind of. But Luca, your thoughts on A Hard Day's Night?
I mean, I'm willing to be more kind to it because it's not fucking Obadi Obada. I like Hard Day's Night. It opens the movie that I like very much. Probably my favorite of Beatles movies. And is like a fun Tin Pan Alley style pop song. It would have been. It's probably like in my top 30 or thereabout. Not in my top 10. I'm not gonna rate it that high. Although it is one of the like real breakthroughs from them from a songwriting perspective.
Yeah. All right, so now we go to Luca's number 3.
This is going to be a punt. I know it is. My number 3 is A Day in the Life.
Well, I mean,
it's a punt.
It is a punt. Yeah,
Let it be a punt.
Let it be a punt. All right, let it be a punt. So now we go to my number 2, and if I got hate on Obadi Obada, I think I'm gonna get just as much hate on this one. With a little help. With a little help from my friends is my number 2.
It's not as worth hating, but it is Ringo.
It's not on my list anyway.
Love this dude. Like I originally had Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band / With a Little Help from My Friends, just because they're often played back to back. Some of the best vocal work, like in harmonies. You have this great call and answer. One that makes you really happy. I'm a big fan of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, like the album itself, and I feel like it was a great start to the album with these back to back. Luca, your thoughts on With a Little Help from My Friends?
It's great. It's really cute. But the thing about With a Little Help from My Friends is that like Joe Cocker released a cover version of that song, performed it at Woodstock, and it blows the original out of the water. Like, Joe's vocals on that are just spectacularly gorgeous. I love them to bits. The original song is very simplistic, and like I'm making no secret about it. Like, Ringo is my least favorite member of the Beatles, and I find him to be the least appealing performer. So,
yeah, I could see that. And like for the longest time, Ringo was one of my least favorite people, and then like as I've slowly progressed, it's kind of gotten it's turned into George, just because I don't know, because you look at Ringo and George, like Ringo did some really like innovative stuff on the drums, and like a lot of stuff that he did, you see a lot of influence in future drummers, but whereas with George, I just don't know how much of his stuff carries out today. Like he was great in like the Traveling Wilburys and stuff. I don't know. It's a coin toss, but Ringo definitely, he gets more hate than I think than he deserves. Malcolm, your thoughts on With a Little Help from My Friends?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great TV theme, but this is one that I just tend to, as a standalone Beatles song, it's just not one that resonates with me as much.
Yeah. I was at okay. If there's another song here similar to when you say Joe Cocker's version, it like just blows it out of the water. I'll be surprised if it does, but if a certain song gets mentioned, I have a reason similar to that why that song didn't make my list. So
I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
No, Malcolm, you're number 2.
My number 2 is All You Need Is Love.
So that was my number 4. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I mean, this was one of the first songs that I remember listening to the Beatles when I was a young lad, and it's one that my parents played all the time. That just sort of grew on me. Because for the longest time, it was the only Beatles song that I would ever love and be caught listening to, and until I started liking them a lot more. And it's just really catchy, and I mean, I remember the first time I heard it, I asked my parents why you're playing the French National Anthem, because of that first starting the bars, like, and they was like, "This not the French National." It's like, well, yes, that bit is, but
yeah, like for me, All You Need Is Love is it's one that that gets my spirits up, like all the time. It's just it's bouncy, and there's nice subtle harmonies, and like you can tell John is high as a kite, but I enjoy it, and you see it being used like in the 60s hippie kind of like peace and love, and like you saw it actually in the Schmodown. Box Office Breakdown has it as their theme song, and like their kind of theme. They're all about love. But Luca, your thoughts on All You Need Is Love?
It's wonderful. It's really wonderful. It uses changing time signatures really well. I think it goes from 8/4 to 7/4 to 8. No, 7/4 to 8/4 to 7/4 in the verses, and then the chorus is in 4/4. It's got like a real sort of beautiful kind of marching element to it. I love the use of horns. I love the use of harmonized vocals. It would probably be like around in my top 15. I think it's one of the best songs that they only ever released on single. I think it's pretty high up on that. I think it's a really Beatles song. It just wasn't quite there for me.
Yeah. All right. So now we go to Luca's number 2.
I realized after you said it that I might have the one that you have the argument against, which is the same as the Joe Cocker argument. So Caleb was talking about needing to get more rocky songs on here, and I want to go with one to which I think the entire punk movement owes its existence to this song. I think that we wouldn't have bands like the Stooges if it weren't for making the kind of music that they do, if it wasn't for this song. Off of the White Album, Helter Skelter.
Okay, so I have an argument for a different song, but yeah.
Helter Skelter is Oh man, it's pounding and heavy and frantic and urgent, and it's just all there all the time. Paul McCartney makes a name for himself as the Nice Beatle. He's not the fucking Nice Beatle during this. He's shrieking, he's screaming, everyone's wailing and banging on their instruments. It's almost like proto-punk music. It's like almost there. It's the heaviest song the Beatles ever made. It's one of the most important songs they made from a cultural perspective. Obviously, it has the horrible cultural baggage from the Charles Manson incident. But it is a fucking like nail grinding masterpiece. I think it's incredible.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to give I'll give my thoughts on it. I like the tune. And I'm gonna get some shit from Caleb, and I'm sure Luca's gonna give me a stern look here. But like, it's if you're a punk fan, then Helter Skelter is going to be high on your list. I don't listen. I didn't really listen to a whole lot of punk until I started dating Sue. And even now, it's like if I had a choice between punk and like the 2000s rock and the 2000s folk that I listen to now, I'll still pick the 2000s folk. So it did not make my list. Although it is a great song, and it is one where they definitely take a risk, and it paid off nicely. But Malcolm, your thoughts on Helter Skelter?
Yeah, this is one that it doesn't resonate with me as much. And I mean, it's an okay song, but it's not top 10 for me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So before we get to our number ones, let's do some honorable mentions here, and we'll go reverse. I'll go to Luca, Malcolm, and then myself. So Luca, of songs that have not been mentioned, what three do you want to kind of shout out to right quick?
Songs that have not been mentioned. I would like to mention "Don't Let Me Down." I think it's a really beautiful blues rock R&B influenced song.
Was on my list, and then I had to squeeze it out.
It was very close, but then I realized that it was so close mainly for the rooftop performance. That's how it sticks in my mind. It's a really beautiful song. I would put "Strawberry Fields Forever." I think one of the more accessible crossing of the boundaries between like psychedelic music and pop music that they did, with just a beautiful vocal line. And I would also put "Penny Lane" on there, which is I think one of the better of their sort of piano focused, like jaunty, very great use of horns in that song, great use of imagery. I think those are three great ones.
Yeah. Malcolm, any
Yeah, I've got "Yesterday" in there. It's just one that was very close on the list, then pushed out. I've got "Hello Goodbye," and I've also got "Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band."
Yeah. The great, like even the reprise of that one that they do in the end. That's like very quick. Great. It's a great little addition. But the ones that I left off that I do want to mention, again, "Don't Let Me Down." "Day Tripper" was one that was originally on my list, but I took off.
Great riff.
What was that?
Great riff on that song.
Yeah. "When I'm 64," another great whimsical song that I think is and has some great clarinet work, I believe. And then the one that I'm surprised that hasn't been mentioned yet is "While My Guitar Gently Weeps." And the reason why I don't have that on the list is because Jeff Healey has an exponentially better cover. Has some really, really excellent guitar work. Also considering the dude is blind. So let's now get to our number ones. And my number one is a punt from earlier. So that is "A Day in the Life."
Yep.
Love "Day in the Life." Great movements. All the members, I believe, are at their best. Ringo has some great drum work. The songwriting in this is phenomenal. You see John's kind of like laid back approach, where he's just kind of like he kind of just flows with the rhythm, and then when you get to Paul's movement, where he's kind of like in that jaunty kind of style that you're familiar with, and then like it's just kind of the absurd violins that at first don't make sense, and then it's just kind of like it's used to separate the parts. But Luca, you had this year, I think, on your it was your 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I was already convinced that at one point that this was going to be number 1 because it's absolutely beautiful. The sort of the varying movements, the sort of transitions, the way it takes references from current events, the way it talks about war and poverty and disenfranchisement and poor people living in working towns and cities in England, in the north. And the way that it takes influences from people like John Cage and Karlheinz Stockhausen and real avant-garde composers, Berio as well. Steve Reich, not Steve Reich, I'm thinking someone. But all of these 60s avant-garde composers like Terry Reich. And is still a pop song, and a really good, really beautiful pop song using, like, they wanted a 90-piece orchestra. They didn't get a 90-piece orchestra, they got a 40-piece orchestra, but it sounds like a 90-piece orchestra. The build-up to the end is incredible. I love Paul's movements. I love the very kind of languid, dreamlike, whimsical movements from John, and just the climax at the end, and then just that final piano chord. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, Malcolm, your thoughts on A Day in the Life?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This is one that I just that I would probably put as one that just gets overlooked a little bit. Because I just completely forgot about it myself until it was brought up. But yes, it's a fun song, but not top 10 for me.
Yeah. All right. So that covers my number 1. So Malcolm, what is your number 1?
Well, my number 1 is Hey Jude. This is just one of those ones that I just really love, and it's one of those more catchy songs out there, and it's one that I always sing at karaoke. It's got a lot of connection to me because just about everyone in my family that sadly has passed away had this pop up in their funeral, and it's just one of those ones which has a very personal connection to me.
Yeah. But for me, I understand why it's so high up on a lot of people's lists. It was 11 for myself. And the reason why it just kind of cracked out is because I feel like the most memorable part is when they're just doing the na 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 nas. While it tells a great story, and it's essentially a ballad to John's son, whenever John gets divorced and eventually goes to Yoko Ono, when they had a great musical career, with the exception of Imagine. I understand why, but I base my list more so on on the group performances, and I'm a huge fan of harmonies and stuff. But yeah, I understand why it can be people's number 1. Luca, your thoughts on Hey Jude?
Also, my number 11. It's fantastic. I think that the piano work is brilliant. I think that Paul's vocals are great, and I think that one of the things that people forget about this song is that it is half of it is the na 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 nas, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much weird R&B shrieking type stuff that Paul is doing over the na 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 nas.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting way, and there's the orchestral stuff building up and up and up on it, that creates this beautiful full sound that I think really elevates it. It should be a boring song. It should be a really boring song. It's not. It's stunning. And whenever Paul McCartney does live performances and he performs the song and you see the crowd of thousands, they're making so much noise because everyone knows it and everyone loves it. It's brilliant. It was just off my list, but it is fantastic.
I just realized that I'm contradicting myself because like if I'm leaving it off because of the na 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 stuff and like all the stuff that's happening in the background, because like I look at that part of Hey Jude similar to Death Cab for Cutie's I Will Possess Your Heart, where the first 4.5 minutes is all instrumental work and it's just adding and yeah. So I just realized if I'm gonna. Yeah, because I consider that song one of my favorite Death Cab for Cutie tunes. But yeah, that's a whole other story. So Luca, we will now go to your number one.
Not on anybody else's list. So when I looked at choosing the best song, and also my favorite, they happen to be the same. I wanted to choose something that I thought was like the most important, the most influential, that has been carried on the most today, the one that invented the most new types of recording and music making techniques, and the one that I think showcases the best of what the Beatles can do at their very best. So it's my repeated album. It's from Revolver, and it's the final track, Tomorrow Never Knows. I think that Tomorrow Never Knows is just the absolute high point of the Beatles as musicians and as musical innovations. It takes in electronic music recording techniques. It takes in looping and synthesizers. And again, Carnatic Indian music, stuff like the tabla and the sitar. And it is transient. You feel like you're going on a journey in the abstract. It is transformative. It is beautiful. I remember being up in the middle of the night as like a 12, 13-year-old with a CD player and a pair of headphones, just listening to it over and over and over again. I think it is the weirdest and strangest song for a pop band to release. It sounds like an avant-garde electronic psychedelic song. It sounds like something that you would expect from like an avant-garde composer, like a Stockhausen or like almost like a krautrock band, building up on these loops and these sort of different tracks. I just think it's absolutely stunning, and I think it's the highest example of John Lennon as a writer, George Harrison as a musical innovator, Ringo Starr as a percussionist, and Paul McCartney as a man not very present in the studio.
No, I'm actually just listening to the song right now because I haven't listened. Like Revolver and like their Indian the Indian heavy the Indian influence of is stuff that I haven't listened to a whole lot of. But as I'm listening to it right now, I understand why it is your number one, because there are so many things that are present in today's music that you hear in the song. I'm sure if I listened to this like a dozen times, then this would probably get somewhere in my 10. I'm not sure if it'd be number one, but I definitely understand why. Malcolm, your thoughts on Tomorrow Never Knows?
Yeah, I was also just listening to it as well, and I mean, I can also understand why. It's just one of those ones that I haven't listened to as much for me to even consider putting it on.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel shitty because I wish I could talk more about it, but it's one that like I might have listened to in passing once or twice. But yeah, if we ever do this again, like maybe a revised version, or if we get like a new people on here, yeah, I'm sure it'd be on there. Maybe like maybe in a universe where I actually listen to every single Beatles tune. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna create our like I don't think we're gonna create our own like a group consensus top 10. I mean, we can if you want to. I think the only one that we have that all three of us have is Eleanor Rigby.
We all have Eleanor Rigby.
So I think that has to be our number one.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now we go to the part that I think Matt usually hates. So is like try to determine So I think that A Day in the Life has to be number 2 because
A Day in the Life does have to be number 2.
Yeah. Okay,
because it's one that me and you have in common, which probably means that Hey Jude should go at number 3, because that's one that Malcolm has.
You have it as well? Or?
No, but our 2 is one that we have and Malcolm doesn't have. So of our 3, if Malcolm could take up the 3 spot with Hey Jude, which is his number 1.
Sure, and then we will go with
Tomorrow Never Knows for number 4.
Yeah, sounds good.
We got all the. So,
are there any other ones that we have in common?
Well, you 2 have All You Need Is Love in common. You have it at 9. Malcolm has it at 2.
And I think we've also got.
I have it at 4. Yeah.
And
yeah, I'll go. All you need is. Yeah, I have All You Need Is Love, and then we'll go. And then I have Help.
Yeah. If you guys are having 2 in common in a row, I would like Helter Skelter at number 7.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Helter Skelter should definitely be on there.
And then we're just at individual ones. So we've got
Didn't we also have Here Comes the Sun in common as well?
You do also have Here Comes the Sun.
Yeah, but that was my. Where did you have that, Malcolm? Because that was my number 9.
I had that at 5.
So you wanted to put that at number 8 then? That sound fair?
Yeah. Yep.
That's a fair. That's a fair deal.
That's fine by me as long as I get another one in there of mine.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go for I Am the Walrus. I'm going to go for She's So Heavy.
Yes. Yeah, I will definitely. Yeah.
Because we have the psychedelic really heavily represented with Tomorrow Never Knows, and I want to be pretty psychedelic as well. And then we got one more spot.
Do either of you guys have Saw Her Standing There?
No.
No? Fuck.
We don't have anything else in common.
Okay, so I have my number 2 isn't on there with A Little Help from My Friends.
Oh, A Little Help from My Friends. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I was not gonna waste my time and argue for Obla Di Obla Da.
Are you happy to put With a Little Help from My Friends at number 10?
I'm good with this.
You happy with that, Malcolm?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. All right, who's doing a falsetto and who's doing a banging?
The top 10 Beatles songs.
All right, Malcolm, you do the banging.
Don't know if that came out any
A little bit, yeah. Number 10
is With a Little Help from My Friends.
Number 9.
That's I Want You. She's So Heavy.
Number 8.
Here Comes the Sun.
Number 7.
Helter Skelter.
At the 6th spot.
Help.
Cracking our top 5.
All You Need Is Love.
It's a quattro.
The lyric doesn't appear in the song Tomorrow Never Knows.
Trois.
Hey Jude.
Our penultimate.
A Day in the Life.
And our number 1 Beatles song of all time is...
That'd be Eleanor Rigby.
Well, I think this is a good list.
That's a really solid list. Interestingly, the one I had repeated was Revolver, which is my favorite Beatles album. I have Eleanor Rigby at 4 and Tomorrow Never Knows at 1. And they have flipped spots in the actual list. Eleanor Rigby is at 1 and Tomorrow Never Knows is at 4.
Yeah. Some other ones that I haven't I had a bunch of songs that I had on there that didn't make the list. Like Blackbird wasn't on there. What other ones? While my guitar's in the least, I'm surprised it wasn't on. I figured it'd be in somebody's list somewhere.
Which? While My Guitar's in.
Yeah.
I almost put While My Guitar's in the weeks on that, but if I wanted a showcase of Harrison's guitar work, I would have just gone to Let It Be because it's got that great solo.
Yeah, and another one as well that was like near the bottom, but it was in contention for a little bit. And Your Bird Can Sing. Yeah. All right, guys. So I think we'll call it there. We're actually we are done before our kind of mini deadline that we had. So I want to thank Malcolm and Luca for coming on today. It was very fun, very very diverse. But I think the list that we came up with was very successful. So I want to go to Luca first. Where can the jackalopes of the world find you?
You can find me here, taking on the Jukebox Championship in a week. You can find me on World by Movie Games, taking on Notorious Chance Ellison and Russell Howell very, very soon. You can find me on the singles division, taking on who knows. You can find me maybe in the Inner Geekdom, taking on Ches Morgan at some point. That's going to be scary. You can find me in the movies division if it happens. You can find me giving some news about a certain number one contender slot, depending on what happens with that and when. You can find out about what's going on in some of the divisions before I do that. Yeah. You can find me next month doing this show, the playlist. We're doing top 10 heavy metal vocalists. And besides that, just could people please stop sending me flowers? They get destroyed in the mail. I appreciate the gesture, but you're not sending them in water, and you're also sending them in very highly destructible packages. So as much as I have legions of adoring fans wanting to give me gifts, just send me money. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'll stop sending you lilies. I know there's Sue's favorite flower, so I just tried to echo that. Maybe get that same emotion out of you. But yeah, Malcolm, where can the jackalopes of the world find you?
You can find me on my own personal YouTube channel at Malcolm Smildereth Media. And I'll probably try and get episode 2 of my list show coming this week at some stage. We'll be talking about Schmodown competitors. And I'm on various Take 3 videos, and I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd at Malcor.
You can find me on Instagram at brookieb.10. I don't post there often, but when I do, I'm usually pretty proud with the stuff that I put on there. You can find us, Jack and Ball Trivia, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You could find me here doing the Jukebox and doing the Rewind. Of course, Luca mentioned our championship match is going to be next week, and then we'll be rolling into season 2. Today we established a team that is going to be helping with the Jukebox division, which I am immensely appreciative for, and I can't thank them enough for coming in while my busy season exists for work.
Gonna be me, Jess, and John Salvi.
Yes, it's gonna be a great time. We have a schedule until the end of June, which is gonna be great. You can also find me on World of Movie Games as well. Myself and Ed Sale taking on Team 80s, Jeremy and Sandy, in what was a very fun, very entertaining match. One of you guys will enjoy. You can find me on Movie Battlegrounds after the tournament. I know Jess and I just recorded the match, and that was close. It came down to the second last question. And you can also find me, I believe, on Take 3 that's going up today. I was on the Reactor Summit, so that was interesting to kind of just sit back and be a guest on their show. But once again, guys, if you want to be a part of this league, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Facebook. If you want to be a part of us, let us know, and we'll get you in a match as soon as we can. Once again, that is Luca.
Friendly tip: don't face me in the league if you want to win.
That is Malcolm. And I am Brooklyn. Thanks for coming on, guys. Cheers, and as always, guys, drive safely.